Okay, let's create a file that is going to control our basket. So under my main views, I'm going to select the last one, Command N, Cocoa Touch class, click Next. This is going to be a subclass of UI view controller, and I forget to name it, and it's going to be basket view controller. Click Create, and just delete everything and keep only our viewDidLoad function. So let's just open our assistant editor here. So I have my basket, I have my storyboard and option click. And now we need to do our connections. The cell is already connected and it has a file that controls it, so we are not going to bother with that. What we need to do is to create our footer view. So let's select our view here, option drag. We cannot do this because we forgot to set the class that controls this. So select your basket, go to the class inspector here and call this basket view controller. And now we should be able to connect our view, and this is going to be footer view. Then we're going to connect our total label. Total, now this will be basket total label, a total price label. And let's connect this one, which is our total items. And what else we need? We need to connect our table view. And we need to add our checkout button as well. We are adding checkout button outlet, as well as we are going to add checkout button function, because we want to be notified whenever it's pressed. So we drag it underneath and it automatically says action. The name will be checkout button pressed. Okay, our connections are done. So let's close this one. I'm going to put a mark here, IB outlets, and here I'm going to put a mark, IB actions, and here it will be mark view lifecycle. Okay, we have our labels, we have our function that will be called every time we click our button, and we have our table view as well. So now we can download our basket items from our Firebase, and we can display this to our user. So let's create some variables here and put the mark vars, and I want to have a variable basket because we are going to use this throughout our class here. And this is going to be optional because we are not sure if our user has a basket when he opens this basket view. Then we want to have an array that is going to hold all the items in our basket. So we say all items. This is going to be type of items array, and initially it's going to be empty. And let's also create a variable to hold our purchased items, purchased item IDs. So this will be a string array, and it's going to be an empty array as well. So this array will hold the IDs of items that we want to purchase. And finally, I need an instance for my JG progress AGT in case if I need to show some notification to my user. This will be AGT is equals to JG. And we need to import it. JG progress AGT. And we're going to initialize with a style.dark. Okay, so this is what we need now. And then in our viewDidLoad function, I want to set my table view footer view. Remember, we created this footer view and we need to put it as a footer view of our table view. So we say table view dot footer view. Should be table view footer view is equals to our footer view. Okay, let's just quickly run our application to see how our basket view looks like if our constraints are working properly. So let's go to our basket here, and this will crash. And the reason it crashes is that we promised that we are going to put these table view functions, which we never did. So if I scroll up, we'll see terminating up due to an exception, and table view number of rows in section is missing. So let me quickly fix this by creating, we're not in the right file, by creating an extension here. And this will be our basket view controller, and we need to conform to the protocols of UI table view data source and UI table view delegate. And once we conform to the protocols, just give it a few seconds for Xcode to complain that missing some functions, and just click fix and it will bring everything. So I'm going to say return 0 for now, and cell for row at index path, we're going to say return UI table view cell. And if I run my application now, this will not crash anymore. So let's go to our basket. You can see we have this top area, the footer we have in our table view, and we have this checkout button. So everything is as we expect. The only thing we are going to do is to get some download some items from our Firestore and display this to our user. So in our view lifecycle, we have our viewDidLoad function, and after that I'm going to add another function, viewDidAppear. Then we call super.viewDidAppearAnimated, and here again we want to put a to-do here. Check if user is logged in. So we are going to get our basket items. So we're going to create some kind of function that is going to load our items. So let's put a mark here, download basket. So say private func download basket. Let's call this load basket from Firestore. So this function will be called in our viewDidAppear. So we say load basket from Firestore. And in order to load our basket, we are going to access the function that we created, download basket from Firestore. And we're going to pass our owner ID, in our case 1234. But this is going to be dynamic later on. Just give it a name basket. And the code here, once we get our basket, I'm going to say self.basket that we just created is equals to basket. And then we need to download the basket items. So we need a function for that. We just downloaded our basket, but we want to also download every item that is inside our basket, because this is what our table view will show, not just the basket. So we say private func and as a get basket items. And here I'm going to say self.get basket items. Okay, so this function calls this one, and this one will download the basket items. And in order to download basket items, first we want to make sure that this is not nil, because it's an optional, and remember that our basket here is an optional as well. So before we start downloading something, I want to make sure if we have a basket. So we say if basket is not equals to nil, it means we have a basket and we can download it. Let's say download items from we need download items. Let's go to our items and see what we have here. So currently we have only download function, which is downloading items from Firebase under specific category. We don't have other download functions, but right now we need one because we want to download items that have specific IDs. So our function should be something similar to this one, but instead of category ID, we need to give an array of item IDs that we want to find and retrieve. So what I am going to do is to scroll down and let's create another function. Download items, and then we say with IDs, and this is going to be a string array of string, and then we have our completion at escaping underscore item array, and this is going to be an array of items because this is what we will download and return. So once we pass the IDs to our function, it needs to go through them and download every item that has that specific ID. So in order to know when we have to call our callback, so when we have to stop, we are going to have a var count is equals to 0 by default. Then we need an array, so we say item array, which is going to be an array of items, and this is equals to empty array as well. So we have the counter and we have the item. So every time we download something, we will put in the array item array, and once our counter reaches the number of IDs we passed, we are going to call our callback and return our item array back. So we say if with IDs dot count is greater than 0. So we are checking if we have more than 0 actually items. So we are checking if our array here is not empty. Let's put an else here. In case of else, I'm going to say completion, and we pass our item array, which is in our case just empty array none. So if we don't have, we return. If we have something, we are going to do a for loop and go through every ID. So we say for item ID in with IDs. So for every ID we have in our array, what we are going to do is we are going to access our Firebase dot items because we are going to download an item, and then we want to get a document with a specific ID, and this is our item ID. And then we want to get this document with a completion handler, which called snap snapshot and error. So first we check if there is a snapshot. Say card let snapshot is equals to snapshot. Else we are again going to say completion item array, which in our case is again empty, and we say return, so we break and come out from our code. And if we have a snapshot, we are going to check if there are items inside of it. So we say if snapshot exists, and then we put an else statement here, and in our else statement again we say completion item array. So be careful, every time you have some kind of option, you always want to have your callback ready there. Okay, and if there is a snapshot, we want to say item array append. So we want to take this item and put it inside our array. Since we are getting back a JSON code, which is dictionary, and we need to put an item inside our array, we are going to create this item. So we say item, and we're going to use a dictionary, and this is going to be our snapshot.data as ns dictionary. So once we put an item inside of it, we are going to increment our count with 1, so that we added one more item to our array. So once we do this, and after our else statement, we want to check if we have reached all the items. So here I'm going to say if counter is equals to with ids.count, then we have gone through all the items that we wanted to download. We need two equals here. It means we want to call our completion and pass all items, items array, sorry. All right, let's just get rid of a few empty lines here, and we can get back to our basket, and now we can use this function. So I can say command B just to get access to the newly created function. So download items with IDs, and the IDs will be our basket. Unwrap this because we checked if it's not nil, and then we say item IDs. Completion, hit enter, we call this all items, and once we retrieve everything, I'm going to say self.all items is equals to the all items that we receive. Then we say self.tableview.reload data, so that our table view will be refreshed. So let's see, we're calling a load function. So in our next lecture, we can run our code to see if the functions we just wrote are working.